Howdy there, folks. We have an elephant in the room we must address. I covered something important last night, and today I have to address this elephant in the room. I've received emails about this, I've received text messages about this, I've seen it in YouTube comments, I've seen it in my private Discord chat, I've seen it on stock forums, I've seen it just about everywhere. And I've got to talk about this because it's become such a big thing now that there's no way I can't just like bury this under the sand. We got to talk about me being this theory. It's called a theory of me being targeted by big money and those sorts of things. And so, I mean, if we take a step back for a moment, like what do I represent? What do I represent? I represent the retail investors. I represent the idea that you can become successful taking money into your own hands, right? And like that's my big thing, right? Like ever since I started investing all the way through my YouTube journey and whatnot, like these are the people I represent. And the fact that you can have real financial success in your life through individual stock picking and through making your own investment decisions, not having to use Wall Street, not having to give Wall Street your money and saying, I'm not smart enough to make these ideas, right? That's what I represent, the success, right? And the people that are successful. Now, if we back up for a moment and we think about let's talk about Wall Street Bets for a moment. Wall Street Bets was around for about a decade and never really got mass attention before. Until the GameStop and AMC situation, in which Wall Street and short sellers lost a fortune. Back when Wall Street Bets was just like posting your 99% loss you had in options, no one blinked an eye. That was totally cool. Oh, isn't that funny? Those silly retail investors losing all their money. Everything was fine and dandy. And then all of a sudden, retail investors bought into a couple stocks. Wall Street lost a fortune because they were short selling those stocks. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, Wall Street Bets is covered on all the mainstream media. Wall Street Bets is all of a sudden being looked at by the government to seeing if they should crack down on it or what should they do in this situation. Isn't that interesting? It was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine when everybody was losing their face. Ha ha ha, let's laugh at them. But as soon as they had some success, let's take a look at them. Something's not right here. Isn't that interesting? And so when it comes to me, I had a tremendous 2019-2020, right? And if you were short selling my stocks, you were betting against them, which most folks that do that are big money, right? Wall Street type money. More than likely, you lost a lot of money. Probably 80-90% plus of the time, you lost a lot of money. And so I can understand a theory being constructed, right? Where it's like Jeremy's stocks aren't going up and there's this huge distrust for Wall Street and hedge funds and the big money in general, right? Think about it for a moment. If I did a poll of, let's just say, Americans, right? Adult Americans. And I said, simple question, do you trust or do you not trust Wall Street, big banks, and that sort of realm, hedge funds? I would say 70% plus of people would say, I distrust Wall Street, I distrust big banks and hedge funds, right? I would say 70% plus. I think it would probably be less than 10% of people would say, yeah, I trust Wall Street, I trust big banks, I trust hedge funds. They're going to make the best decisions for us. That's not going to happen. No way. The best case scenario is people would maybe say they're in between, where they don't distrust or they don't trust, right? And so when it comes to, formulating a theory around Wall Street being shady or hedge funds being shady or trying to target somebody or target groups of individuals because maybe, they lost betting against stocks that those individuals were in, or because that person represents the retail investor community. And now if that becomes a bigger and bigger thing, then Wall Street can't make all those fees, right? And so I can definitely understand on a pretty high level around those theories and how they're made, right? Now, I don't buy into those theories when it comes to my short-term stock price moves. I absolutely believe it is very, very possible Wall Street can target certain stocks, can try to manipulate certain stocks through many different tactics, and can maybe even target individuals and cause headaches for them. I think that's absolutely a real possibility, no doubt in my mind. But I don't trip off it from a perspective of short-term stock price moves. Like, at the end of the day, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get into stocks before Wall Street gets in it, right? I'm not trying to find the stock that Wall Street's already all over and already in, right? Apple stock nowadays, although I love Apple just as much as the next guy, that stock doesn't interest me nowadays because all the Wall Street money's already there. The hedge fund money, everything like that. Like, it's just not interesting to me. I'm looking for stocks that are in the stage where I feel like Wall Street money is going to come into them in a massive way over the coming years. And it's not really there right now. Now, if we think about Tesla stock, that's a stock I started buying in 2018 and started speaking about all the time on the channel and talking about, the future for Tesla and how I thought it was going to be this big thing, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I had to wait, I think it was about a year before that stock even started to go up in any meaningful way, right? For a year, I held that stock and it either downtrended or didn't do anything. It was just in a bad place. I remember having to answer questions from folks being like, hey man, what's going on with this Tesla stock? It's down 15% now. It's down 20%. And, those are tough questions to kind of answer. But I was like, I'm getting in the stock before Wall Street does because Wall Street money is going to come flying into the stock. And it did, right? And the same thing with Revolve, Upwork, Elf. The Planet Wall Street money's still not in that one yet. So that one's still going to play out over the coming years. Cruisy Doozy, FB, Skyworks, Dropbox, all those stocks, I was looked at all those and I'm like, Wall Street money's coming flying in these stocks over the coming years. And I want to get in before that big Wall Street money hits, right? For me, it's not a game changer for me if retail investors invest in my stocks. Like, if they do, that's cool. If not, that's cool as well. Regardless, the big money, the Wall Street money, they're coming to my stocks regardless because they're going to put up such phenomenal numbers, in my opinion, that there's going to be no denying it. Like, if you look at Tesla, there was no denying. Like, the numbers got so insane, like, you can't deny that company anymore. You look at all these companies and you look at the numbers they've put up over the past several years and you just can't deny it. Like, it's like Wall Street money's going to float, right? And so if I look at Tattooed Chef, if I look at Corsair Gaming, which are my two main stocks I've been buying here in 2021, and two stocks that I think are going to do tremendous from 2022 to 2027 and are going to go on some crazy runs along the way. If I think about those two stocks, those are two stocks I look at, and Wall Street's coming to those stocks no matter what. In my personal opinion, as long as the companies execute the way I think they're going to execute, like, Wall Street money's coming to those two stocks. And so I can't go ahead and I'm not going to get caught up into the short-term stock price movements of those up or down and say to myself, well, this stock went down, so therefore Wall Street's pushing that stock down today. Although I do understand Wall Street can manipulate stocks, and especially when it's something like Corsair Gaming that has a massive short interest, I can understand people thinking about short ladder attacks and those sorts of things and the manipulation that can happen on Wall Street. Understand it. But I'm not personally worried about, stock's down 18%, the stock's down 6%. I'm not like, oh, Wall Street, why are you pushing down my stocks? Like, if they push them down, whatever. I'll just buy more shares in the end. I'll just buy more shares and I'll buy more shares. At the end of the day, Wall Street money and big money's coming to those stocks no matter what, as long as they execute. As long as they execute those business models, the big money's going to come. And eventually this day, I'm going to look at the stock and it's going to be a $50+ stock. And someday I'm going to look at the stock and it's going to be a $60+ stock, right? And probably even a lot higher than that down the road. And so I don't trip off like, Wall Street's pushing down my stocks today. Fine, push it down. I don't care. Like, if they are or if they're not, it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm just going to be a bigger buyer. I'm going to hold these stocks long term, and that's going to be what that's going to be. And so that's my opinion on this whole theory situation. I don't worry about it. It is what it is. If they want to target me, it is what it is. Like, there's nothing I can really do about that in the end. And if they want to try to push down my stocks, I'll buy more shares for cheaper, no matter what. Hedge fund money and Wall Street money is coming to my stocks no matter what over the coming years. So it's just more about when do they want to get in. If I got to wait 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, I'll wait. I got the time. Much love as always, guys, and have a great day. I hope you enjoyed me addressing this elephant in the room because it's a big one.